If you're about to get your wallet out and buy some esports setup, don't. Well, at least not until you've watched this whole video. Because I'm going to tell you how you can get a setup that actually fits your driving style in the next 10-15 minutes. And all you need is about an hour of your time. Let me tell you why this setup doesn't work if you just buy it and then plug straight into your races. Most of these setups are made for esports drivers, and most of us are not esports level. Coming from a silver one driver, that is myself, I've tried numerous esports setup on numerous cars, and one thing I can tell you is you can barely keep the car on track. It's not that these setups are bad or anything, it just the way esports drivers drives compared to how we normal plebs drive are so different. They trail brake pretty much perfect every corner. They get on throttle perfect. They always gets the car to just about the limit. And us casual or even maybe slightly above average drivers is not doing that every corner, every lap for 2 hours straight. So these setup in endurance race or whatever race you're trying to run them most likely will not work for you. And the most important bit is these drivers have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours adapting and getting used to the setup they are provided or the feedback they've given to change the setup. It's tailored to make for them, not for us. They are just sharing it. But if you have an hour of time, even just 30 minutes, I'm gonna let you know how you can get a setup that is made for you or even your team, and it will be comfortable to drive at a good pace, and you don't have to spend money on it. Besides that, you don't even need to buy DC Sports setup. You can just find them on public discords. I literally have maybe about three different setup shops of setup worth just by browsing through a few discord, and I'm gonna try to link them in the description to a discord that I'm gonna put them all together so you can just download them and without paying tens of hundreds of dollars for it. Right, we're now in LMU. The next special event is going to be at Spa, and I haven't done a setup for it, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to show you how I'm going to get a setup done within 30 to 45 minutes. So you want to do the basic race weekend setup in single player, get all your tire wear and fuel usage to real, roost none, so we can basically speed in the pit lane and get out as fast as you can. Put tire warmers on, just saves time really. Right, now that we're in game, we're just gonna do the default setup and do 2 or 3 laps to get a base lap time. One thing I forgot to add that is in these first few laps, it's not just setting a delta, it's also you feeling how the default setup's feeling, how it handles through corners, high speed, low speed, and you kind of want to have a little feedback for yourself to know what you want to be changed. Like, are you understeering or first steering at entries, exits, or any snaps mid corners? These are the points you want to be paying attention to. So it's not really just driving around for 3 or 4 laps, but there are things that you want to be looking out for. Right, that is the end of lap 3 that I've done. Lap 3 or lap 4. It's a 2:22.3. It's not the best time, but it's a representable time. So we're gonna return to garage, and here is where you wanna have a sort of reference setup of how esports setup would feel. So I've got a few here. We got Boba, we got Go setup, and high mode. I'm gonna do the high mode endurance one. We're gonna compare and load it. So we're gonna go out and do another 2 or 3 laps on the high mode setup and basically see how we feel about the car. Sort of have a look at if we like anything from the high mode setup that maybe we could implement into the default setup, or anything that we could implement the default setup into this high mode setup. And then again, I did not pay for these setup. I just found them on public discords. That turn one felt way better. As you can see on the top right, we're already almost 3 times up after turn one with the esports setup. Through the Rouge, we can't even get up to Radion. There's just barely any turn in. A lot of understeer full crew on as well. There's barely any, there's no, you just understeer every corner on this esports setup, supposedly. And the braking will just feel a lot more jittery. We're almost 2 seconds down with the esports setup. Right, we're back in the garage now. So we've loaded the setup to our compare slot. Now we're just going to go back to the default setup and we're going to have a look at it. So I know there's a lot of numbers on the screen and it might be a little bit intimidating at the very beginning, but I can assure you these are not intimidating at all. On sport TCs and all the TC electronic stuff, it's basically to your liking. I like mine at 4, 7, and 9. This is what I normally run in fixed races. Preload. So default's 120. You would probably want to be somewhere between half. So it was +6 on the esports setup. So you probably want to go +3, +4, either way. Now, we noticed the turn in there was a lot of good turn in on the esports setup, and it was +7. So we're gonna go to about 5 towards the esports setup side. Rear, we'll just leave it there. Brake bias, it's really up to you again. I like my brakes a bit more forward, and the default was, I think, 51-49. I'm just gonna shift it the other way around to 49-51. That's how I like it. Brake force is also really a personal preference. But make sure you run it through with your team and everyone is on the same brake force when you're doing your setups. Because if someone's on 100%, someone's on 80%, someone's on 90%, then every time you use the setup or when they jump onto your setup, it's going to be a little bit different. Now, here are some of the things that you want to be looking out. I forgot what his actual YouTube channel name is. I think it's Racing Arnold. He does really good setup videos and he explains very in detail what suspension, dampers, and chassis narrow do. I got the idea, but I don't think I'm the best person to explain what they do. I just know what I need to tweak to get over like a bit more steer or just get rid of over another steer from tweaking them. So the first thing I'll look at is the arrow for what we had on the setup, because the default was okay for Rouge and Radeon and okay for Savile and Blanchimont. The esports setup's definitely way understairs. It was on 2.1, but the car just wasn't turning, even though the default setups on 1.4, you can feel a lot more turning through it. So it's not a wing problem. Right, so first thing we want to do is go to chassis narrow to fix the esports setup not turning in problem with what we have as a default setup. So for the anti-roll bar, it was very hard at the front, and it was P4 at the front on the default. So we're gonna just go down one click on the ARB at the front, keep the rear because we don't want to do a lot of changes at once. We're gonna change one or two things, try it, and then we'll go to the next thing and see what the changes do for you and if you feel more comfortable through it. The esports setup had a 0.9 toe in, so it was quite a big toe in, and it was negative toe in the default setup, so just probably go 0. And we're gonna just add one more wing so we get a bit more high speed stability. That is pretty much what we're gonna do for now. If not, we can add a bit of camber. I think it was. We'll just go there. And now we've made our changes, we're gonna go driving again. So turning through La Source, we're against 410. Just doing little tweaks. It's still a bit understeer towards the end of the crest up the rouge, but at least the car feels more lively at the front. Still a bit dodgy through Stavolo there. Just mainly you don't want to clip the inside cut because it pushes you wide. But throughout the entire track, almost a second up. And you just feel way more comfortable through these setup changes. And across the line, it's going to be a 21 flat pretty much. Still the same problem of understeering into Stavolo, but overall the setup is way better than what we had with either default or the Hymo one. Right, so at this point it probably took me, it's a 2-hour session, so it just over 35 minutes, or almost 35 minutes, and we're pretty much 80%, 90% there to a full setup. I'm gonna make just a little bit more slight tweak, and this should be in an hour of your time. Right, so the next tweak I'm gonna do to help with the mid corner understeer through Rouge and Radion and Stavolo, I'm gonna give the setup a bit of front ride height, and we're gonna go one click stiffer on the anti-roll bar at the back, and that should be all, not all, but like most of the things that we need. And just a bit of toe in at the back. Alright, now we're gonna go back on track and have a look. feels so much more safer for Blanchimon already, not Blanchimon Puron. The exit feels much more stable. Through the left-hander there. Just a slight lift through Staffalo. That feel a lot better. I know I did was a tiny little tweak. High speed stable through Blanchimon. Alright, here comes the road test for Rouge Radion. Still slightly understeer, but we might just have to lift to give the car a bit more rotation through it. Alright, let's try it one more time. Let's try the slight lift through Radion. Yeah, just a slight lift through Radion. Get through there very safely. Right, so after another couple of laps, the average lap time is about high 20 to 21 flat, which is easily a second or two faster than what we had at the beginning, and it's not even reaching now yet. It's probably like 45 minutes, and we've gone through the default setup, we've gone through the esports setup. If you have the time, you can even run through the Coach Dave Academy setup just to compare all four of the setup or all three of the setup, and then make your own fourth one. And with that, you can even try to lower your wing or try to basically balance out and see if you can find more time through just tweaking setups, tweaking a few numbers, and get a comfortable and consistent setup that you can drive and make sure you won't crash on. And yeah, that's basically it. So you don't need to spend money, and you don't need a lot of time to really get a setup that you're comfortable with and it's got decent pace. I think a lot of people just look at a setup page and think it's too complicated to even look into it, but you don't really need to look into it. A lot of people already done the hard work for you of getting esports setup out there. You just need a way to access it. So I'm gonna put most what I can in the Discord, and if you guys are interested in just getting free setups from there, feel free to just go download them, do whatever you want with them. I just don't think paying for setups is really that much um, big of a deal. You can pay for it. It's not gonna make you significantly faster. It might even ruin your race because you're not used to it. So for whoever who buys setup, we appreciate you for buying setups to share it. But I'm gonna take full advantage of free setups and make my own setup because it genuinely doesn't take a lot of time, and all you need is it's basic finding the balance. It's really that simple. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time for another video.